Hey there. Ready for a deep dive into something pretty important? Today we're looking at financial behavioral health. And it's not just about like managing your money, but really getting into the psychology behind it.
Yeah, the emotions behind those financial choices we all make.
Okay, so you mentioned some sources with some pretty startling statistics.
Oh, yeah?
Like, did you know that a huge percentage of Americans can't cover a $400 unexpected expense? That's wild. I mean, that could be a car repair or a medical bill, pretty basic stuff.
Yeah, and it really shows you how widespread financial stress is. And what's really interesting is how that stress kind of spills over into other parts of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Like imagine you're a retail worker and you're dealing with that level of financial anxiety.
Yeah.
How do you think it impacts their interactions, like with customers or even with their coworkers?
Yeah, you can just imagine, right? Like shorter patience, maybe even making mistakes on the job.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can't afford to take a day off, they might come to work sick, and then that affects everybody.
Exactly. And it's not just a retail problem either.
Right.
We see these same challenges in healthcare.
Oh, interesting.
The demand for home healthcare workers, it's growing so fast.
Yeah.
But the wages, they often stay really low.
Yeah.
So what happens when these essential workers are constantly just worried about making ends meet?
Well, I imagine it's got to be really tough to focus on giving quality care when you're stressed about your own bills.
Right.
And wouldn't that also lead to high turnover rates? Like people just can't stay in those jobs.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it just makes that staffing shortage even worse.
Wow. So we're seeing this ripple effect in retail, in healthcare.
Uh-huh.
What other industries are kind of feeling the effects of this?
Oh, transportation's a big one.
Okay.
Think about truck drivers, for instance.
Yeah.
They're often under so much pressure to meet deadlines, deliver goods on time.
Yeah.
But those long hours and tight budgets, it takes a toll.
That's a little unnerving when you think about it, right? I mean, they're behind the wheel of these huge vehicles. Does that financial stress make accidents on the road more likely?
Well, it's definitely a concern that financial pressure, it can lead to fatigue, rushed decisions,
Right.
and even like cutting corners on maintenance, which all compromises safety.
Oh, wow.
And those accidents, they disrupt supply chains, and that affects everybody.
It really is amazing how interconnected all of this stuff is.
It is.
So we've got retail workers, nurses, truck drivers, all facing these challenges. Who else are we talking about here?
Well, let's not forget about the managers who are overseeing these employees.
Oh, that's true.
Imagine you're a manager responsible for a team where a good chunk of them are struggling financially.
Yeah.
You're dealing with more people missing work, potential conflicts, just this constant struggle to maintain productivity.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for burnout for everybody.
It is.
It's like this chain reaction, starting with the individual and impacting the whole workplace.
That's it.
Wow.
And that stress, it doesn't just disappear when they clock out. They carry that home with them, impacting their family, their relationships, their overall well-being.
Absolutely.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it really highlights how this financial stress just has this ripple effect.
Yeah, it does.
It goes way beyond just the individual. But there's this concept in behavioral economics called loss aversion.
Okay.
And it plays a big role in how we make financial decisions.
Loss aversion, huh?
Yeah.
That's interesting. What is that exactly?
Well, it basically means we feel the pain of a loss much more strongly than the pleasure of an equivalent gain. So think about it this way. Losing $100.
Yeah.
It feels way worse than the joy of finding $100.
Oh, I can totally relate to that.
Right.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty common experience.
Yeah.
But how does this loss aversion, how does that play into financial behavioral health?
Well, that fear of loss, it can lead to some, not so great financial decisions.
Yeah.
For example, someone might hold on to a poorly performing investment for way too long just because they can't stomach the thought of selling at a loss.
So they're so focused on avoiding that bad feeling that they might actually make decisions that aren't in their best interest.
Exactly. And this is just one example of how understanding these psychological tendencies, it can help us make better financial choices.
Right. It's like having this secret decoder ring for our own brains,
It is.
trying to figure out why we do the things we do with money.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
So speaking of making informed choices,
Okay.
let's go back to those professions we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
We talked about all the challenges that retail workers face.
Yeah.
What can we actually do to address their financial stress?
Right. It's easy to point out the problems.
It is.
But what are some solutions?
Well, on an individual level,
Yeah.
financial literacy programs can be really helpful.
Yep.
Equipping them with the skills and knowledge to budget,
Yeah.
save, manage debt,
Yeah.
that can give them a sense of control over their finances.
Right. So empowering them.
Exactly. But what about on like a workplace level? What can employers do?
Yeah, that's a good question. What can employers do to help?
Well, it's all about creating this culture of financial well-being.
Okay.
This could be anything from offering financial counseling to providing workshops on managing personal finances, or even having employee assistance programs for those financial emergencies.
So it's not just about saying, oh, we care about your financial well-being,
Right.
but actually taking steps to help.
Exactly. And then there's the governmental level, too.
Yeah.
Policies like raising the minimum wage, expanding access to affordable health care, providing tax credits for low-income earners, all of those things can have a huge impact on financial stability.
Yeah, so we've got some solutions for retail workers. What about healthcare workers?
Yeah.
They face a lot of similar challenges.
They do.
But with that added pressure of caring for other people?
Absolutely. And in their case, advocating for better wages and benefits, that's crucial.
Yeah, I mean, these are essential workers.
They are.
Their pay should reflect that.
Absolutely.
It seems odd that the people who are responsible for our health and well-being are struggling financially.
It's a real problem. And on top of better pay, providing access to mental health services, creating a supportive environment at work that can really address burnout and compassion fatigue.
It's about acknowledging that they're under a lot of pressure. And giving them the support they need to really thrive, both financially and emotionally.
That's exactly.
So shifting gears a little bit, what about transportation workers?
Yeah, so their challenges are a little different.
Yeah.
Often tied to those long hours, unpredictable schedules, and lack of control over their earnings.
So how do we address that financial stress?
Well, ensuring fair labor practices.
Okay.
Advocating for reasonable working hours, that's a good start.
Yeah.
Regulations that actually prevent companies from pushing drivers to their limits. That can help prevent those fatigue-related accidents.
It's about putting safety above profits.
It is.
And making sure drivers aren't forced to compromise their well-being to make a living.
Exactly.
So what else can we do?
Well, providing access to financial planning resources.
Okay.
But resources that are specifically tailored to the needs of transportation workers.
So helping them manage that unpredictable income, plan for retirement, navigate the unique challenges of their profession.
Exactly.
And then what about those managers?
Oh, right.
We talked about how their stress kind of trickles up.
Yeah.
How can we support them?
Providing training on how to spot and address signs of financial stress in their employees.
Okay.
Give them the tools to have those tough conversations.
Yeah.
And point their employees to the right resources.
So equip them to be allies in their employees' financial well-being.
Exactly. And on top of that, providing leadership training that focuses on empathy and communication. That can help create a much more positive and understanding environment at work.
It seems like addressing financial behavioral health takes this multifaceted approach.
It really does.
We've talked about solutions at the individual level, the organizational level, even the government level.
Yeah.
But what about on a societal level? Like, is there anything we can do to just change how we think and talk about money?
That's a really great question.
Yeah.
Honestly, one powerful tool is open and honest conversations about money.
Okay.
We need to stop treating financial struggles like a taboo subject. Right. Encourage people to share their experiences without shame.
So normalizing the conversation.
Exactly. And if we start promoting financial literacy from a young age, we can equip future generations with the tools they need to make good decisions.
It's about creating a more financially literate society.
It is.
Where everyone understands the basics of budgeting, saving, investing, managing debt.
It's all connected. If we address financial well-being at every level, individual, organizational, governmental, societal,
we can create a more equitable and prosperous world for everyone.
This deep dive has been really eye-opening. It's made me realize that financial well-being isn't just about personal responsibility.
Right.
It's about creating a system where everyone has a chance to succeed.
Yeah, it really is about trying to create a world where financial well-being isn't a privilege, it's a right for everybody.
Yeah. That makes me think about something you said earlier, the shift from just focusing on financial literacy to bringing in this idea of financial psychology, which it seems like we've been talking about that throughout this whole conversation.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about what that means and why it's so important?
Yeah, sure. So, traditional financial literacy, it often focuses on the what, like how to budget, how to save, how to invest. But financial psychology, it really digs into the why.
Okay.
Like, why do we make the financial choices we make?
Yeah.
What are the beliefs, the emotions, maybe even past experiences that are kind of driving those behaviors? So acknowledging that we're not always like perfectly rational when it comes to money.
Right. Exactly.
Our emotions can really take over sometimes.
They can. Like, for instance, someone who grew up in poverty might have this scarcity mindset that makes them hold on to things even after they've achieved financial stability.
Oh, wow.
Or, someone who's experienced a financial betrayal might have trouble trusting,
Yeah.
which makes it really hard to seek advice or invest wisely.
That makes a lot of sense. So how can we actually use this understanding of financial psychology to improve our own financial well-being?
Well, it starts with self-awareness.
Okay.
Take a look at your own beliefs and attitudes about money.
Yeah.
Where did those beliefs come from? Are they helpful or are they actually holding you back?
It's like taking inventory of your, financial baggage
I like that.
and figuring out what to keep and what to get rid of.
Yeah, exactly. And once you kind of identify those limiting beliefs, you can start to challenge them and replace them with something better, something more positive.
So instead of saying, I'm terrible with money,
Right.
you can say, hey, I'm learning and growing.
Exactly. And be patient with yourself, too.
Yeah.
It takes time and effort to really change those deep-seated beliefs and behaviors.
It's a journey, right?
It is. It's not a quick fix.
And for some people, maybe seeking professional help could be beneficial, like a financial therapist or counselor.
Oh, absolutely.
They could provide more tailored support.
They can.
This deep dive has been so thought-provoking. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the impact of financial stress on different jobs to this whole idea of financial psychology and creating a more supportive environment around money. Is there anything else you think our listeners should take away from this?
Well, I just emphasize that financial well-being, it's not a destination. It's a journey,
Yeah.
There will be good times and bad times, successes and setbacks. The key is to approach it with a growth mindset.
Okay.
Be kind to yourself and celebrate those wins along the way.
It's about remembering that we're all a work in progress.
Exactly.
And any step towards a better financial life is a good thing.
It is.
Absolutely.
And remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are resources out there, communities, professionals who can help you along the way.
So to our listeners, as we wrap up this deep dive into financial behavioral health, remember, you have the power to change your financial future.
You do.
It starts with understanding yourself,
Yes.
seeking support when you need it,
Absolutely.
and taking small steps towards your goals.
Even those small steps, they add up over time.
They do.
Never underestimate the power of your choices.
That's a good point.
Every decision you make, from how you spend your money to how you talk about it with others, it can all contribute to a more positive financial future.
For yourself and the people around you.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for joining us on this journey into financial behavioral health. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep diving deep.